Hello and welcome to the video. Before we get started, if you'd like to provide input on future content and get our weekly newsletter, click on our survey. The link will be below. We also have a report on Ethereum 2, along with a bonus report on why you should learn Solidity now. Again, the link will be below. Now on to the video, and thank you. Okay. So tonight we're going to talk about security in Solana. And there are three things that I want to cover, three big concepts or big things that are going on. The first one is their integration with Trm Labs. The second is a little bit like a 30,000 feet overview of that security technology in terms of proofs and validation. And the third thing is some of the recent incidents. So let's get into the first one. Recently, Solana made agreement or is working with Trm Labs to basically what they're allowing to happen is customers of Trm Labs can access Solana data. So they can now take advantage of these tools, and let me show you briefly. We've got Trm Forensics, which tracing funds, trying to see what happened if something goes wrong. Trm Know Your VSP. This is a way to measure and monitor risk of, a cryptocurrency business, or perhaps a partner. And Trm Transaction Monitoring, which is the automated and risk-based transaction monitoring. So they're monitoring crypto assets. You can see how this is going to benefit the users of Solana. The next thing is that I want to talk about is security. The first thing is validation. They use a combination of Merkle trees, and we've seen them before. It's basically hashes of hashes, or they're actually implementing it. It apparently has not been implemented yet. So the combination of the Merkle trees, and they're also using optimistic validation. So what that basically means is once a threshold of nodes have voted for a block, it is optimistically confirmed. I think we can see here, is it this page? Maybe it's this one. Here we go. So you can see this is the idea with the Merkle block. You hash, and the hashes are hashes, and hashes and hashes are hashes, and eventually get the root, which is the block Merkle. And we've seen this in other chains. The other thing is zero knowledge proofs. So basically the idea is instead of showing the secret key, you prove that, or the secret, whatever that secret may be, you prove that you have that secret, or you know that secret. And so they developed maybe 40 years ago, and the idea is that, I say, you don't reveal the information directly. There is the concept of provers and verifiers, which basically means the prover is the person who has to prove they know the secret. The verifier is testing them to allow them to verify that the prover is in fact telling the truth. The example they give in one of the articles I looked at is with your bank, for example. So let's say the bank asks for some kind of secret word or perhaps a key fob, you're not telling, in order to access your stuff or for them to do a transaction, you're not telling the bank your details. Oh, I have X amount of dollars. What you're telling them is that you have the information to prove that you know what or have access to what is in that bank account. So that's the example that they give. So you're not providing a secret key, you're demonstrating that you have that secret key. So that is the basic concept of validation, of how they validate with the optimistic validation, the Merkle proofs, and the concept of the zero knowledge proof. The final thing I want to discuss is some recent incidents. So they had 2 recent incidents, and let me bring those up. This is the first one that was in August, and basically you can see this has to do with the way that the wallets are organized. You have your main wallet, and then you can have sub-wallets. But the problem was it's possible to have an orphan sub-wallet. And they go through in this article how they did it. They created or got control of this orphan wallet. They put money in it, and then they transferred it to another address. So then when they transferred ownership to the orphan wallet into the exchange main wallet, it detected the valid deposit and thought you had the coins, the rays, and then they transfer into Bitcoin. So now they have Bitcoin and Ray. And this goes into detail, shows some of the transactions that they did. The second one was about not even 2 weeks ago, where they got flooded with a denial of service attack, rather. And basically, the validators and everyone, engineers, the whole community came together to resolve it, but it took about 14 hours. And they were able to mitigate it. But what this shows is that there's still some work to do here. Remember, this is bleeding edge, beta, and all the rest of it. So that doesn't mean it's not an exciting technology. It means it's not 100% there yet. So to summarize what we've learned tonight, 3 things. The integration with TRM Labs, which is going to be advantageous to TRM Lab customers who wish to use Solana. They can now take advantage of their tools with Solana. A little bit about their security technology, the zero knowledge proofs, and also the Merkle trees, which they're still implementing, but the whole Merkle system and optimistic validation, and those 2 things together will help them validate transactions in a secure, in a reliable fashion and fast fashion. And finally, like I just said, there's still issues that they're working on in terms of security, as demonstrated by 2 recent hacks. A hack followed by a denial of service attack. So you can see that they are working on security. They've definitely thought about it and trying to use some up-to-date techniques. They're making a good partnership there, but they still some work to be done. Anyway, hopefully this has been interesting and helpful, and I will speak to you next time.